Reddit asks, what do you do to earn extra money outside of work? For me, the most useful thing is to be a reseller and be the person who solves problems. Talk to people and check what their needs are. If you can supply any of those by getting what they need or performing the service, there is money or even bartering to be had. It is easier to sell something when people already want what you are selling. You already have 70% of the work done. For example, someone wants a gun, and you know where to get something that meets their needs. You have a good commission there. Someone wants a used car, and it turns out you have access to a place where you can do repairs and you know something about restorations. You have a commission if you manage to resell it well. Many times you don't even need to buy the product with your own money. Read a lot about development, sales, and neuro-linguistic programming. Remember, if you know how to read and you don't, you have no advantage over those who can't read. The best investment is always investing in yourself. I am an engineer. I worked for 20 years for a company. In 2017, I started selling digital video games. Little by little, my client portfolio grew, and I added every client to WhatsApp. In 2021, I was fired. By then, I already had about 1,700 clients added. I took a sabbatical year. After that, I liked being at home, so I didn't look for a job anymore. I started offering streaming services at a lower price to my clients, and here I am. I earn much more than I earned in my formal job. For me, time helped me, as did growing my number of clients. Selling tamales outside hospitals between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. is guaranteed sales. And now that it rains, also raincoats for 5 pesos that cost you 1 peso to make. My friend, outside the hospital is guaranteed profit. I say this because I work in a hospital, and in the mornings, about 10 food stalls set up. Sometimes they invade the ambulance zone. Almost everything is sold to everyone. Personally, it bothers me a lot because they invade work areas, but the population likes it. You could do small development projects like selling mobile app design, web page design, custom implementations, or bot development, depending on what you specialize in. For my part, I see people daily in my Discord advertising those types of services, for example, making Discord bots. In my case, since I also have knowledge of code development, I know that developing these isn't highly complex. People charge well, and there are usually always clients. That's just speaking of Discord, which is where I'm most involved. But then there is Telegram, WhatsApp, among other platforms that always have a demand for needs like this. People greatly underestimate pseudosciences, complaining that normal science and pharmaceutical companies block all ancestral knowledge and hippie stuff like that. If you don't care a bit about your dignity, watch a couple of YouTube videos on Reiki, palm reading, horoscope reading, astral charts, numerology, or other such garbage. Start with a couple of friends doing it for free and then charge per consultation for any of those things. I swear to you that people pay for it. What's more, I have friends who have stupidly paid for a consultation from a woman who did a cleansing of their house, and really she just went to shout nonsense and wave incense all over the house. And if you have no hang-ups, you can bamboozle believers for much more than 150. About 10 years ago, some friends and I had just finished eating and were killing time in the entertainment district. We found a business that read tarot for 50 pesos, and we went in to see what was up. In the reading, any number of tragedies and curses that had been cast on me came out, but kindly, the card reader offered to build me an altar for the modest amount of 20,000 pesos. Obviously, I wasn't his target market, but given the number of people who believe in witches, charging themselves with energy at the pyramids, and similar things, I don't doubt that he is pocketing about 60,000 a month. I sold products that I use and that I believe people would also buy. Some years ago, when the sale of minoxidil was illegal in Mexico, I sold minoxidil. In the cold season, I wanted to buy a novelty thermos for myself. I ordered them in a lot of 10 and sold the other 9. Same with card holders, French presses, motorcycle gloves, the occasional car accessory, and several others. I don't dedicate myself strictly to sales as a wholesaler, but it generates good cash, and you also save by buying something you would use. It doesn't take up that much of your time. In my case, it's a product that doesn't expire, and if it sells, sell cheap, sell dear. Well, if you have time and you cook well, any food item is always an option. Reselling products. For example, Shine. I don't know exactly how it is right now, but before, you bought a certain amount, and they gave you 30% off. In other words, by offering the website price, you already earn 30%. And regarding remote jobs, it really only pays off if you are a freelancer and have some skill like programmer, marketing, design, etc. Otherwise, the easiest thing to get as a home office job is as a caller. According to Johnny, it pays well, and you take the insults from impatient people. Or those who offer you your own business model and you become an insurance salesman or travel package seller, they usually do a lot of propaganda for you to be a virtual assistant with good payments and super simple tasks, but watch out there. I know it's very competitive and they ask for proven experience in the same field. I have my stable job, and on my days off, I work as a shopper and delivery driver for supermarket orders. The pay is decent, the shift is good, and since you're there all day, you can make a little extra for fixed household expenses. It has helped me pay off dragging debts I have. Family life is sacrificed if there are no important events, but it compensates. I am an accountant. I work in a private firm from Monday to Friday for 6,000 Mexican pesos a fortnight. Then I do extra work for another firm for 5,000 a month. I work for them about 20 hours a month approximately, and 100 a month for a private client for about 4 or 6 hours a month. Then I also have a blog on Blogger with all the public transport routes and a tourist guide of my city that gives me 2,000 bi-monthly through. They are taught obedience, not because the dog needs to know how to sit to stop being aggressive, but the process of teaching him to sit, lie down, walk without pulling. I start teaching them that instead of making decisions, they need to look at their owner to indicate what to do. Example, your aggressive dog sees another dog on the street. Instead of him deciding I'm going to attack it, the dog will turn to look at his owner so the owner decides how to proceed at that moment. Usually, the dog is asked to walk straight without paying attention. You start by teaching him these commands first without distractions through positive techniques, negative ones, or a combination of both, depending on the dog. Most aggressive dogs are that way due to a lack of guidance from the owners. The dogs go through life unsure of how to proceed. They turn to look at the owner for advice, but the owner, since he has no clue, contributes nothing, and the dog feels he has to handle it alone. Most of the time with aggression. When the dog is finally taught that his owner knows how to proceed, the dog relaxes more and lets the owner take control of the situation. I have many musician relatives. Most have fixed jobs teaching or in orchestras, but on weekends most go to play at events like weddings, sweet 16ths, graduations, etc. My parents did this for many years, and thanks to that extra money they earned, we lived very comfortably. Currently, my dad retired, but sometimes he goes out to play in restaurants, hotels, or the city aquarium to make a little extra. Take advantage of what you already know, the power of your studies, give private lessons, tutoring. This is a classic for a reason. It works. If you are good at math, physics, history, or a language, there are always parents looking for help for their middle or high school children. The good thing is that by teaching, you reinforce what you know yourself. You can put up posters in your neighborhood, in supermarkets, or use apps like SuperProf. You start charging a little, and with experience, you raise the rate. Help other university students. Are you good at a subject that everyone struggles with? Offer to give group reviews before final exams. You can also offer to correct papers or transcribe interviews for theses. Believe me, many pay to save themselves that tedious work. If you are desperate, hospitality always needs people. Go to bars and restaurants, resume in hand, and talk to the managers. When you do, try to go well dressed as if you were going to an interview. There is everything. Establishments where they wipe their asses. I am a binary options trader. The capital I have in the account allows me to earn at least $100 daily. Of course, there are days where I even lose those $100, but they are very few. Approximately every month I lose around $300 or $400, but I earn $2,700 or $3,000 monthly. I must mention that I operate only for half an hour each day. It goes well for me. At first, I lost a lot of money since I was a beginner in binary options, but after 4 years everything is going super well. I am 31. With a part-time job in software sales at a store in my city, I go in at 10 in the morning and leave at 3 in the afternoon. The salary, evidently, does not exceed $10,000 even with commissions. However, in the afternoon, starting at 7 p.m., I go out to deliver on Didi and Uber. There are good days and bad days in delivery. However, delivering on my electric bike distracts me a lot, and per month I make about $5,000 extra. I am saving those $5,000 because I plan to open a food place at night after work. In my area, there are no quality burgers, so I'm going to latch onto that. The fact is that with a single income stream there is never progress, and you also shouldn't stop having benefits in case you have an emergency. Really, in Mexico, there is no way to progress viably in a job as a professional. As an example, I finished my degree, and frankly, there isn't much difference in terms of salary. If I worked full-time, maybe I would earn $6,000 more, but beforehand it annoys me to give so much time of my life to a company. I prefer free time and delivering. Some days, where a person has little self-knowledge, doesn't reflect much, and has no introspection, they usually seek to identify with something or some group. Add to that horoscope descriptions and that crap are super open, and boom, you'll have a bunch of people with low self-esteem following you to light their way. And in another case, people are afraid to accept reality. If, for example, you don't get a partner or something like that, it is easier to assimilate that you have a lot of accumulated negativity, and it can be easily removed by waving incense and a magic perfume over yourself than to think I should seek to be somewhat more physically attractive, exercise a little, improve my hygiene, and probably be a more interesting person and manage my complexes. And as I said, this mess is very undervalued, that is, coming out of engineering and having no experience in my first job, they paid me 7,000 pesos a month, which means I earned 233 pesos a day, a 10-hour workday, plus an hour and a half to go and an hour and a half to return. If you start reading cards or Cuban Santeria or something like that, you can charge about 150 pesos per consultation and earn that in just the 15 to 20 minutes those consultations last. I work in remote customer service. It's all from my house. They pay me $70 per fortnight, and I also have another job which is technical support. It is also home office. I work too much, and all I do is drink coffee and smoke, but I am paying for a house and a car. I give my mom money for expenses and that's it. I live happy and fulfilled. I don't have a boyfriend. I don't have a life, but I have cute clothes, medical expense insurance, and 2 jobs that I like. My favorite part is that I never have to leave my house or see people. I wish they paid me more and I worked less, but actually, I only finished high school, and despite speaking English, I didn't study any degree, and I make close to 45,000 a month, which is quite a lot, but I keep looking for better opportunities, and if God permits, I know I will have them soon. Greetings and good luck. I teach English, math, and physics at a university level and also martial arts for children or self-defense for adults. I try to ensure my adult clients are women because I know they are the ones who need it most. I don't sell them smoke and mirrors that they will be able to defeat 10 attackers. I teach them the reality of an attack, protection theory, and enough to be able to escape, as well as handling legal weapons and defense objects. This is going to sound weird to you, but I repair washing machines. This morning I just made $100 changing the drain hose of a neighbor's Frigidaire washer. I simply watched a video on YouTube. I went to the hardware store, bought a new hose, a screwdriver, a clamp. In 2 hours I disassembled it, put the hose on, reassembled it, and tested it. If you live in a condominium like me or in a neighborhood with a lot of people you know, you can repair their things. Most household appliances are quite easy to repair. The next thing I will do is change a water tank float. Another easy job for a retired lady. I have a degree in computer science with a master's in computer science, but I am retired, so I have some free time and I do these little jobs to entertain myself and earn some money. Washing machines are quite simple to repair. Their common failures are losing water through the drain hose or some rubber gasket, or making strange noises because the dryer drum rotor fails. I also changed several of those rotor wheels. They are jobs that don't need many tools, and replacement parts are easily obtained. All the info is on YouTube on how to repair them. My best advice is to consider selling digital products depending on your niche. It isn't oversaturated with sellers, and if you look for products with a high profit margin, you can generate good income. Partnering with a company that manufactures the products so you don't have to worry about creating them yourself also has enormous benefits. Some companies even have mentorship programs. The one I joined has a complete training and mentorship program. That meant I received help to start and find clients, even though I had no idea what I was doing. I started selling as a side job, and in 12 months the side job was earning more than my 9-to-5 job. I looked for a company that also allows people to act as distributors, not as affiliates or network marketing sellers. That way you are free to operate your business as you want, market as you want, etc. Digital products have a huge market and can be very lucrative. I suggest you choose a niche that interests and excites you so it doesn't feel like work. When it is back-to-school season, I sell personalized stickers for children's books and notebooks, also covers. At the end of the year, I make calendars for some acquaintances and catalogs for some businesses. It's easy, you just need a machine that runs well for you and to have basic design knowledge. I didn't study that, but I more or less get the idea. Also, when I have a lot of seasonal fruit, I dehydrate it and put it in jars. If I get bored of eating them, I sell them to a nearby store. It can be mangoes, apples, bananas, etc. You just wash the fruit well, cut it well, and leave it in the dehydrator. Easy money and doing almost nothing. For the moment I don't do it anymore, but I do think about returning to sports betting in Telegram groups. Of course, there are many groups promising many profits in that stuff, and they just scam you or don't know about sports forecasts and just flip a coin. In contrast, the group I entered did have profits, and like everything that generates easy money, it has its risks. I won a lot of money in a short time, but by not knowing when to stop on a bet, I lost it all. For these types of actions, you have to be aware that you lose and you win, and in this case, mostly win. That is why you have to know how much to bet, because the safest profits are always long-term, little by little. And believe it or not, there are people who take that risk of betting big, and the probability is high that they win a lot in a single day. Even in one bet you can recover what you spend on the group and obtain profits. My secondary job consists of processing ebooks for the digital division of an academic publisher. My role was to ensure that everything worked correctly, that the conversion was adequate, and to divide it into chapters that could be downloaded individually. It is contract work and quite irregular, as they only asked me to work if they had a lot of backlog or if a deadline was approaching and they needed extra staff. They paid me according to the number of chapters one could process per hour. I timed it several times, and if everything went well and I was concentrated, I could earn between 40 and 55 per hour. There are only a handful of contractors, and I am the only one of college age, but it is a quite good job if you manage to get it. If you live near a daycare or preschool, they usually need extra help. I worked at a preschool for 3 years while studying at university with children from newborns up to 5 years old, and I went for a couple of hours at the end of the day, between 4 and 6 in the afternoon so that the main teachers could go home. Every school is different, but I simply relaxed and played with the children. We did different activities, I read them stories, we did crafts, etc. Super easy at the end of the day. While parents picked up the children. I am a criminology student with a minor in psychology, but I also work as a valet parker at one of the 3 hotels my company has a contract with. The tips are great and help me have money to go out on weekends, and I have plenty left over to save. It is a very easy job. I park cars, reverse, and chat with people. All my coworkers are more or less my age, so I have made many friends working there. Babysitting is always a good option if you are interested. It is a simple job if you only watch families who have dates, and you can study while the children sleep. Also, it shouldn't interfere with your class schedule. There is the option of selling plasma, which is very profitable and helps others. Also, you can study while you do it. Another commenter mentioned private tutoring, which is also great, but be prepared to deal with children's emotions, because sometimes that can be very stressful for them. Saving money is also earning money. I buy food in bulk, chop it up, and freeze it in a separate freezer. Also, I prepare meals in advance, buy whole chickens, etc. I save $200 a month compared to what I spent before. I enjoy cooking, but I also save money and eat much healthier and drastically reduce food waste, not to mention less plastic, etc. Occasionally I invest in cryptocurrencies if there are major fluctuations in the market. Also, I get some passive income by staking coins. I also like to buy silver coin collections, keep some for my personal collection, and then sell the rest for a profit, but that is more of a hobby. Oh, and gardening. For now, a small vegetable garden, but I plan to expand it soon. You can get free seeds from your last harvest and basically grow free food. Depending on the size, it probably won't make a huge difference, but if you get a small garden, I think you can easily save $100 on shopping. Mind you, there are some initial expenses. I also plan to have chickens for both eggs and pest control and for entertainment. But if you only do it for the money, you'll probably only recover the investment due to the cost of feed, unless you can supplement it with produce from your own harvest. Pressure washing can be a satisfying and well-paid job depending on the area. Obviously, it is seasonal work, but I contacted the owner of a local painting company and now I subcontract pressure washing jobs in large warehouses and factories, generally indoors, which I can perform even in winter. With my basic equipment, I still earn, not including what I charge for travel and other expenses. It is an extra job, mostly on weekends, and they are multi-day jobs, although sometimes just one if I feel like a day of more than 16 hours, which is not uncommon because in my opinion, I enjoy it quite a bit. Inform yourself well on whatever you do, don't be the one who charges cheaply. If you have any skill to create something to sell, many people do it as a complementary activity to their regular job. Etsy is one of the most popular platforms for selling handmade items like jewelry, clothes, wood items, personalized stickers, decorative vinyls, greeting cards, personalized mugs and tumblers, etc. There are so many possibilities to create and sell. Even if you think you have no talent for any of this, do a little research and watch some YouTube videos. Many videos show you exactly how to make things, even if they seem very complicated. Most likely, you will find a video that teaches you some skill you didn't even know you could master. It requires a small investment depending on what you create to sell, but if in the end you enjoy creating and selling your creations, everyone wins. Good luck with everything. I earn money mainly with paid surveys, Fiverr, and property rentals. Here is a brief summary of what I do. Elite survey sites. I use them to find the best paying survey panels. The key is consistency. Fiverr, I offer website and app testing services. It pays well, but certain skills and some patience are needed to create a good profile. Reselling. I dedicate myself to reselling specialized secondhand items on the internet. It is more of a side job, but fun and profitable. Property rental. I have invested in a couple of properties and rent them out. It is a good source of passive income. Most of these services are free to start and can be done with little or no experience, except Fiverr, where having some skill helps. AI model training. If you have knowledge in a specific area, STEM, programming, law, history, etc., you can earn money answering simple questions. The questions and your answers help refine the AI's understanding of how things work. I know it is a somewhat controversial topic and that many people would never do it because they consider helping AI improve to be something negative. I respect that stance a lot, but I like earning between 40 and 50 an hour. I am 24 years old. My city has a large geek community, although I haven't started yet. I will organize tabletop role-playing games, board games, collectible card games like Pokemon, and whatever comes up. I found a venue with a capacity for more than 100 people, and I charge $1 entrance fee per person. They meet once a week, and my role is simply to offer a space to play, organize groups for those who don't have anyone to play with, and occasionally buy games and accessories for those who don't have them. There is already a lot of interest from the community, and I expect about 100 people for the first night. It has already been mentioned, but reselling stuff is a good option. This year I have bought 4 cars and have more than doubled my investment on each one. Some states have laws about the amount you can sell, so keep that in mind or be prepared to do slightly shady things if you want to do it regularly. Selling power tools that you get at flea markets for about $50 for between $200 and $300 is a quick way to earn money. Sometimes you can get video game consoles or TVs or audio equipment from people desperate to sell fast at any price. I always negotiate, so I can buy even cheaper and then list it at the best possible price. Reselling brand name clothes from thrift stores can also give you extra money a week. I have been doing odd jobs for more than 10 years. I started in high school mowing lawns, house sitting and pet sitting, and things like that. I still do it from time to time, but now I dedicate myself to other types of domestic tasks, mostly simple repairs. I have taken advantage of my customer service job to create a network of contacts with wealthier people, that is, with enough money to pay someone for these tasks who know I am trustworthy. I don't earn much, about $300 a month on average, but there have been months where I have earned more than $1,000. The real advantage is that it keeps me busy in my free time and prevents me from lying on the couch or at the bar. Also, now I have a very good reputation in my community as a kind, helpful, and trustworthy person, and that makes me feel good. If you have a good command of written English, which you should have if you passed 3rd grade, you can earn extra money working as a freelance writer or as a contract editor. Some even offer one-time rates for longer projects, which, while quite modest sums, can generate a good amount of money if you complete enough assignments. Anyway, if you manage to avoid scams and dubious platforms and if you have a working keyboard, you can easily earn a couple of $100 extra a week, doing something that any elementary school kid could do. It is true that little of the content will be interesting to you, but you can work from home without wearing pants, so that is a big advantage. This is going to sound weird, but in my free time, I sell dubia roaches. Reptile and tarantula owners use them as food similar to crickets, but they are much better than other insects for feeding their pets for several reasons. They aren't dirty animals. I can hold a handful and have no residue left on my hands. I keep their terrarium next to my bed and have no odor problems. Crickets smell like ammonia and chirp all night. Nor can they climb glass or plastic, so there is no problem if they escape. Also, they reproduce faster than other insects and do not transmit diseases to humans. Crickets can bite human skin and your pets and transmit Salmonella and E. coli. They are incredibly easy to breed. My colony started a year ago with less than 50, and now I have more than 600. I also feed them to my leopard gecko and sell some to friends. At first, I was very against having them, but now I am very happy to have them. Crickets are disgusting and make an unbearable noise. I am going to tell you about a job that exists in my country, Panama. Here the typical dress is the polera. It is an extremely expensive dress. Just the skirt can cost $4,000, not to mention the jewelry. Well, this value is partly because every polera is unique. There are women who make the drawings for these and charge between $40 per drawing. There are also the sabanillas, blankets, with which babies are wrapped. Right now my mom has made 2 that she could easily sell for $80. I'm not kidding, but she makes them for when she has grandchildren. Still, it is a very profitable and easy job if you have the talent for sewing, embroidery, fretwork, cross-stitch, etc. And thank you very much for watching the video, friends. Remember that you can comment on stories you have regarding this question and comment on which story impacted you the most. Remember to leave your like, subscribe, comment, and share the video so YouTube recommends it to more people. XD.